Okay, so for my second interview today, I've actually got my wife, Sierra Latimer, or um, once I guess legally changed, it will be Sierra Robb. We've been married about 3 years now, just haven't made the official name switch yet. So legally, Sierra Latimer. Um, got her here with me tonight. Sierra, I just need you to acknowledge that you consented to being recorded and doing this interview with me on the Qualtrics platform.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we are going to go through a series of questions. Sierra, can you just state for the video who you are working for right now?
Yes, I work with Youth Foster Futures at the University of Utah.
And are you a manager or an employee for them?
Employee.
Okay. What do you do for them?
I mostly work with foster care alumni in college, either at SLIC or the University of Utah. Help them find resources to meet their basic needs and just do what they need to graduate to college.
All right. Well, thank you. Very good work that I know you do there for them, and love hearing about your job at home. So, these questions, we're going to go through a few questions, kind of outlining a little bit about your work life experience with it, and a little bit about your managers within the organization. So, first, we're going to kind of go off daily job and personal problem solving. Can you share an example of a time when your manager helped you effectively manage a work assignment while considering your personal or family related responsibilities, and how did they assist you?
Yeah. Let's see. There was a time I had a home visit scheduled with my manager to visit one of our potential high school students to join the program. And that day I had a family event come up. And so he offered to take one of my coworkers to the home visit instead and was very compassionate and understanding of having family and personal life things come up.
Okay. Do you feel that your manager understands the challenges faced by employees in balancing work and family obligations? And if so, please explain.
I think so. I know he doesn't maybe personally understand because he doesn't have a family of his own yet. But he has been very understanding that I am a working mom and that sometimes my son is sick and I have to work from home. Or sometimes things come up and I have to be a little bit more flexible with my work schedule.
Do you think your manager is effective in assisting employees with practical work life issues and family emergencies?
Um, I think so. Um, yeah, I think he's pretty understanding that most of the employees are college students and that they have um, lives outside of work, and is luckily our job is one that's able to be more flexible and work from home when needed or just work the hours that we need.
Um, well, that's really good. What qualities or behaviors make your manager effective in this area or ineffective?
He is pretty compassionate and understanding. Um, I mean, he's also a student getting his PhD. So I feel like just having that personal experience himself, and just I think the nature of the work, working with um, youth and young adults in challenging situations, is just naturally he has to be more compassionate and understanding.
What advice would you offer to managers or leaders who are looking to enhance their skills in helping employees manage practical work life challenges and family related emergencies?
I think the biggest thing is just for managers to understand that employees are people also, and that they have lives and other people outside of work that depend on them. Yeah, so I think just remembering when something does come up for an employee that they are a person first. And then, yeah, just practicing compassion and evaluating if an employee is trying to say that something's coming up, just knowing if that employee is a trustworthy one that is telling you the truth or not, just being able to use your judgment.
That's really good advice. Does your manager convey that they're approachable and open to discussing personal or family matters if needed?
I think so.
If yes, how do they do that? Could you provide an example of a time where you felt comfortable bringing up such topics?
Yeah, I think my manager is someone who likes to get to know his employees anyway. So he'll ask questions about our personal lives or about our families and stuff like that anyway. So he'll kind of start the conversation on the topic, making it more easily and comfortable for us to bring it up in the future when needed.
Can you think of any instances when your manager helped create or it could have possibly hindered a culture of psychological safety, allowing team members to freely express their feelings or discuss non work issues without fear of negative consequences?
Um, yeah, I think this is something my manager does very well. Um, a lot of his employees are students who have also gone through the program, so he's kind of built that rapport and trust with them early on that they have always felt like he's a safe person, a safe place to go to talk about work or personal issues. And I've seen him set aside time to talk with employees personally about work related things or personal things, and he's just always made himself available to, like, if we needed help with school, if we needed him to look over a paper for us or whatever, he just makes himself available to that as well.
That's really great. What practices, if any, does your manager employ to communicate their boundaries and availability outside of work hours while still remaining accessible to the team when needed?
I don't know what his exact boundaries are. But I think typically he only responds during business hours. That might be different if he has like a caregiver or a student reach out for an emergency. But I think that's probably pretty rare. So I think just kind of doesn't respond outside of work hours unless he has to.
Do you feel that your manager's ability to model effective or ineffective work life balance influences your approach to managing family and personal priorities?
Um,
Can you describe a specific instance if so?
yeah, I mean, I think he demonstrates being flexible as well. I know, like, he does have an older dog that he's had to bring into work before because she needed to be watched or had a vet appointment right after. Um, yeah, I think, like the other day, he said he was having a rough day, was going to go home and take a nap. Like I said, our work's pretty flexible, so he could work from home the rest of the day, but just demonstrating that he also has to juggle the work life balance.
In what ways does your manager communicate or demonstrate that they prioritize their own well being and personal commitments? And I think you did kind of answer that before. Can you provide an example of how this approach has positively influenced the team's work culture? So, I guess to rephrase, you kind of touched on this a little bit with the answer before. Um, do you think, him demonstrating that as an example of his own work life balance has positively influenced the team's work culture?
I think so. I think knowing that your manager understands and also makes time for his personal life kind of gives us that freedom to do the same.
What strategies does your manager use to allocate tasks or projects based on employee strengths and availability in a way that optimizes team performance and individual work life integration?
This is something my manager struggles with is delegating. He tends to take on most of the things himself. Um, but when he does allocate tasks or projects, um, he does consider the strengths of the employees. For example, he knows that I have a social work background. So if he has a social work question or something that he needs to do, for example, we had to make a resource guide for the caregivers of our students. So that was something he assigned to me, knowing that I had connection to resources, and that was something I have experience in. Or, for example, another one of our employees, she is very creative, and so he tends to assign putting together PowerPoints or documents or things like that to her where she can use her creativity.
That's awesome. I'm sorry that he doesn't delegate the best, and I think he knows how to do it a little bit. Just sounds like he gets kind of caught up and has a hard time just asking for the help. Not that he doesn't trust you guys or see some of your talent and abilities. Have you encountered situations when your manager supported the use of alternative work arrangements, such as compressed worksheets or job sharing, to accommodate personal or family commitments?
Um, yes, like I mentioned before, if I'm unable to go on a home visit, he's been able to find someone else to go. Um,
And just because I'm your husband, I think another example of this, and I'll let you touch on it a little bit more. There's been times we've done road trips or something, and you've been able to kind of study a little bit more about the foster systems. Would you like to touch on that at all, as far as just other material
mm,
to get hours in to accommodate?
yeah, my job is um, an internship, so education is a big part of it. And so he does, as long as I'm getting the hours that I need for school, he's pretty flexible with the way that I do that. So one opportunity for me has been to read books or listen to podcasts that educate me on the foster care system that I can then apply to my work with the students.
Just try and keep busy with education
Mm.
material. Um, how did using such arrangements impact the team's effectiveness?
I don't know how much we work as a team sometimes.
Well,
Um,
I think it's more asking just how has allowing you to use that studying for work or any of that material just kind of impact the work you do within the facility.
yeah, I think definitely having the education and the understanding of the foster care system and the impacts that it has on development and just all the ways that it impacts the students that we work with has been made me more effective in the way that I approach them and the way that I talk to them. Even just understanding that because of what these students have been through, they might not be as likely to open up to me immediately or trust me or come to me when they need help, and that I might have to go to them, or just having that knowledge that I might have to change the way that I work with them because of what they've been through.
That's really good. Has your manager ever encouraged employees to think outside the box when it comes to finding solutions that benefit both their work and personal lives? If yes, tell me about that and how did they do that?
I think so. I mean, our job is very flexible. And as long as we're serving the students, we can kind of do that any way that feels right, and meets their needs. So our organization was originally established to focus on education, but he has really been pushing us to think just even more outside of that. Like, if their basic needs are not being met, then they're not going to be able to succeed in their education. So it's pushing us to think about how we can help them in other ways, get a little bit more creative.
I think you had a big win with work just the other day and having to think outside the box. Would you like to touch on that at all?
Sure, yeah. I've been working with a very young single mom who's been trying to go back to school. She's been The program that she wants to do is at the U, but it is a technical program. So they do not accept FAFSA, which is usually how our students pay for school. And unfortunately, she didn't qualify for the scholarship that we offer, being a non-traditional tuition. And so with her, we've had to
think outside the
think
box.
outside the box. We've had to find scholarships for single moms. I had to contact the scholarships and make sure that they'd work with the program that she was trying to get into. And then she found out her deadline was happening really quick for her tuition payment. And so we kind of just scrambled together and worked with this scholarship. And we found out the day before tuition was due. We got an extension for the due date, but we found out the day before she had to pay that this scholarship was able to award her the full tuition amount, and she'd be able to start her program on time. So yeah, just.
Do you feel that any of that thinking outside the box was influenced by your manager in any way?
I think so. I think he was giving me input the whole time of, I mean, we tried all different kind of avenues of how we could get her the tuition money. And so he told me, like, I'll reach out to this person and maybe we can do it this way. And so just giving me ideas that I hadn't thought about yet of different ways we could try to get her the money she needed for school.
That's good. So it sounds like overall good experience within the workplace. And even though there's a few little snags, he is someone who cares about the program and the kids, and is open to helping find solutions and ideas, whether it's personal or in terms of work. I thank you for the time to sit down and do this with me, and that's it for us. So thank you, Sierra.
Yeah.